Hi everyone, welcome to The Green Room, a place where theater people come to discuss their practice, process, and profession. I'm Jeremy Dobrish, director/playwright, and today we're doing our 5-4 segment, 5 questions for Eisa Davis. So, who's Eisa Davis and why are we talking to her? Well, Eisa is a Pulitzer Prize finalist for her play Bull Rusher, a recording artist whose latest CD is entitled Something Else, and an actress whose credits include Passing Strange. Eisa's latest play is Angela's Mixtape, which she also stars in at the Ohio Theater, produced by New George's and the Hip Hop Theater Festival through May 2nd. Eisa agreed to sit down with us at the Green Room HQ to do our 5-4 segment.
My name is Eisa Davis, and I've written a show that I'm also in called Angela's Mixtape. And it's at the Ohio Theater down in Soho, and it's produced by New George's and the Hip Hop Theater Festival.
When writing an autobiographical show, how do you pick the moments in your life you want to include, and how do you fictionalize them?
In a lot of ways, I feel like I didn't have as much conscious control over what came out when I was writing it. There are some stories that, of course, just had to be in there. But then there are other ones that just had to go, you know, just they weren't helping the overall feeling. And that's how it is when you're making a mixtape. I think the thing that I had to keep in mind is that there is a conflict in the play. And if I was able to keep that first and foremost, then that would allow me to separate the wheat from the chaff, you know? So the conflict in the play is that I want to be this normal kid, and my mom and my aunt have this very, you know, not very normal life of activism. So that's what was really there as a guidepost for me as to whether or not something would fit in the play and whether it was helping the play move forward. You know, helping the momentum of the play move forward.
How is it that a show that is so specific can be so universal?
This is kind of the magic and the sleight of hand of theater, I guess, you know, because I don't really know how that works. I'm so glad it did. I feel like this particular play, you know, is in these particular circumstances, but at the same time, it is, like you said, a story about how it is we become the people that we become, because everyone has that backboard of our parents to bounce off of, right, when we're growing up. If we don't have parents, we have parental figures, you know, maybe it's our grandparents or someone, a mentor or something like that. And we are all trying to figure out, you know, how it is that we are different than them and how we honor them, you know, at the same time.
Your show is political, spiritual, musical, comical, autobiographical, emotional, and all sorts of other ols. How do you keep so many elements in play at the same time?
Again, it's from not juggling. It's from just trying to write down exactly how I remembered things. And that, I think, is how you balance all of those things, you know? Because all of those adjectives you just mentioned are things that you experienced growing up or things that you experience on a daily level every day, you know? So I think by actually just lifting up, you know, whole hog, just lifting up an entire slice of time like that and then just dropping it on the stage and then like letting everyone smell it, you know, is the way that you bring all of those things in.
How did you develop Angela's Mixtape?
Wow, okay, well, 2003, the Hip Hop Theater Festival had a slot for a reading of a new play, and they asked me to do it, and I said, sure. And being a playwright, you know, you can't write unless there's a deadline. So they're like, okay, we're giving you this particular slot. And I said, great. And eventually they were like, well, we need a title and a blurb for our brochure. And the script would be nice too. And I was like, well, I don't have the script, but I guess I can give you a title. I was like, it's called Angela's Mixtape. So that was the title, and then I had to write a blurb, but I still hadn't written the play. So like in a week and a half or 2 weeks, I wrote quickly. I wrote so fast. I just wrote tons and tons and tons of stuff. And then from that, we came up with the very first draft of it. The first reading was at New York Theater Workshop. That's where Hip Hop Theater Festival was doing that particular reading series. And I mean, we've done it like, actually I saw some some 21-year-olds do it at Oberlin College, you know, like totally without me, which was really fun to see. We did it at University of Utah with some non-actors. They were like searching for black women in Utah, and you know, could only find some administrators and maybe some graduate students, and you know, and so those are the people they offered to me to do a reading. Then a really, really important workshop was one that New York Theater Workshop hosted at Dartmouth, and that's where I started working with Liesl Tommy, the director.
How does acting in your own play compare to acting in someone else's?
In a lot of ways, it feels like coming home, because this play is, in a lot of ways, just like the living room shows that my cousin and my next door neighbors and my godmother's kids, you know, my mom's friends' kids. This is what we used to do after dinner, was just put on little shows, you know, and act silly and hope someone listened. And so it feels very much like that, and therefore I feel very much at home. And at the same time, it's very new for me. I've never actually been in a production of a play where I've written the script. What the director, Liesl, said to me is, you were brave enough to write this, so that means be brave enough to give it all up on stage in performance, and you know, see where the cards fall, you know.
My thanks to Eisa Davis. Now, before we go, I want to leave you with a quote, and since Eisa's play is all about Angela Davis, I thought we'd do one from her. Progressive art can assist people to learn about the intensely social character of their interior lives. Ultimately, it can propel people towards social emancipation. If you like The Green Room, please spread the word. You can also friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and/or RSS us so you'll know when the next episode is posted. Thanks, everyone. See you next time in The Green Room.